Grogu and the clone trouble when Mando accepted a simple job on a quiet moon called Serafiznan. He thought it would be routine land, trade, refuel, and leave, but Grogu had other plans. As soon as Mando started talking to the local traders, the little green creature wandered off toward a glowing research dome that hummed like a hive full of secrets. Inside, Grogu's big eyes widened at rows of tanks filled with bubbling blue liquid. Curious as ever, he pressed his hand against one of the glass tubes, and to his surprise, a small spark of energy jumped from his fingers. Lights flickered, alarms beeped softly, and the word cloning sequence active flashed in red above his head. By the time Mando found him, the lab was humming like a giant refrigerator. "Grogu, what did you do this time?" Mando muttered under his breath, but before he could finish the sentence, one of the tanks hissed open with a puff of vapor. Out stumbled another Grogu identical in every way, except for a slightly more mischievous grin. At first Mando thought he was just seeing double. Then another tank opened, and another. Within minutes there were 5 tiny Grogus waddling around, giggling, poking buttons, and one even chewing on a data cable like it was spaghetti. Mando froze. "No, absolutely not. One of you is enough trouble already." The clones looked at each other and then back at Mando, and in perfect unison they cooed in that adorable but slightly menacing Grogu way. Mando sighed deeply. "I've fought Sith Lords, bounty hunters, and rankers," he muttered. "But this is new." Back at the Razor Crest, Mando tried to keep track of them all. The clones each had different personalities. One was sleepy, one endlessly hungry, one couldn't stop pressing buttons, another tried to use the Force constantly, and one just stared at his reflection like it was art. Real Grogu watched them with amusement and mild annoyance, as if insulted that his copies were stealing his spotlight. When night fell, chaos erupted. The hyperactive clone rewired the navigation system. The sleepy one snored so loudly that the ship's sensors thought it was incoming thunder. The hungry one ate half of Mando's emergency rations, including a bag of sand cookies from Tatooine. Mando lost his temper. "Everyone back into the lab, now," he barked. But the Grogus were already gone. They had sneaked out, following their curiosity toward the nearby city. Mando and the real Grogu hurried after them, tracking small muddy footprints through the neon-lit streets. The clones had split up. One was juggling glowing fruits at a market stall, another had climbed a statue, and 2 were showing off Force tricks to an amazed crowd of children. Mando tried to collect them quietly, but the crowd started cheering. "More, more," someone yelled. Before he knew it, Mando was standing in the middle of an impromptu street performance starring 5 little green clones and a very tired Mandalorian trying to herd them like The city's guards soon arrived, thinking they were under attack by some kind of alien gang. Mando had to think fast. He tossed out a flash charge to create a distraction, scooped up the clones, and dashed back to the Razor Crest under a rain of laughter and applause. "You're all grounded for the next 100 cycles," he groaned, strapping them into makeshift seats. But when he tried to fly away, the ship wouldn't start. One of the clones had removed the fuel converter to use it as a toy. Mando's patience finally broke. "That's it. We're going back to that lab, and I'm fixing this mess." Grogu, sitting calmly on the dashboard, blinked innocently as if to say, "Good luck with that." Returning to the dome, they found the control room in ruins. The cloning system had gone haywire. More tanks were activating on their own, each one spawning new, incomplete Grogus who blinked sleepily and then vanished like mist. Mando realized the machine was destabilizing, draining power from the moon's core. He worked frantically at the console, typing commands while Grogu and his copies watched. "If I reverse the sequence, it might pull the energy back," he muttered. The curious clone reached out to help and pressed a big red button labeled reset. The whole facility began to shake violently. "Not that one," Mando shouted as the ground split beneath them. The clones screamed in chorus as Mando scooped them all up, sprinting through the collapsing corridors. A massive blue flash filled the sky as the dome imploded, sucking the clones' energy forms back into itself. When the dust cleared, only one Grogu remains, sleepy, hungry, mischievous, curious, and calm all at once. The others were gone, merged back into him. Mando knelt down and gently touched his helmet to Grogu's head. "You okay, kid?" Grogu burped softly, a faint sparkle of blue light flickering in his eyes. Back aboard the Razor Crest, Mando slumped into the pilot's seat, exhausted. "Promise me one thing," he said, glancing at Grogu. "No more touching glowing devices, all right?" Grogu tilted his head, as if agreeing, then slyly reached for Mando's helmet and poked the COM switch. Static filled the cabin. Mando sighed. "I'm serious." Grogu smiled and held up 3 fingers. Maybe a promise, maybe a joke. Either way, Mando knew this wouldn't be the last time they'd stumble into something impossible. As the ship lifted off, the stars shimmered in the viewport and Grogu's reflection winked back at him, just slightly out of sync, like one last echo of the clones.